that there are certain filmmakers who are a lot more aware, a lot more responsible towards what it is that they're putting out.
What do you think of the whole perspective of of feminism, the concept of how it is being perceived today? I'm sure a lot of women here would also say, if you ask them, "Are you a feminist?" You'd probably take like a while to answer, saying, "Am I coming too strong?" You kind of get judged for it. Your perspective.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you can really generalize this, and I can't give you a generalized answer to this. I think everybody has their own reasons for choosing to be a certain way or believing in a certain way or a certain way of being. But the fact is that someone has mentioned that today probably is a time for men to be a lot more feminist than women need to be. And also just to answer a little bit of what the lady earlier asked, I think in a patriarchal society, what happens is that men, I think just on the basis of their gender, always have goodwill ambassadors, which are their parents. It's the daughters who need goodwill ambassadors more often than not. So in itself, so I do agree there's many problems in terms of what you were talking about, vis-a-vis what women can do for women, what women can do for men. But the fact is that there is a huge need of the hour for men to do something for women in this country.
Farhan, talking about economic empowerment that was mentioned earlier, even in the Indian film industry, a lot of times the point of how the male actor obviously gets way more payment than the female actor, and how, because the whole film ultimately is on the audience is coming for the male actor. Have you, as through Mard, are you also planning to work on that and discuss
Well,
with
the,
directors?
the truth of the fact of the matter is that there are few male actors who get paid more than most male actors as well. You know, so maybe we should change that as well. So
I think there's a supplementary to that for in the sense that the portrayal of women in entertainment has also changed over the last few years. I mean, there are some directors and some producers who've acted positively, and there's positive affirmative action. But on the other hand, there's also objectification of women, which rightly the society and parents. I have a 6-year-old, for instance, and I don't switch on television in the evening because I don't know what next will come on. So it's difficult for parents to engage with the children when entertainment is on your face. So,
to a certain extent, of course, I do agree with you. I think which is why it's important for parents to monitor what it is that their children are watching. But again, like you said, that there are certain filmmakers who are a lot more aware, a lot more responsible towards what it is that they're putting out as content, and there are some who are not. Hopefully, those people will realize that the audience has changed and they don't want that anymore. But it's weirdly, I mean, unfortunately, it's a kind of a demand and supply kind of business. So till something doesn't become obsolete in terms of people demanding it, there'll always be someone who will create it. And apart from the responsibility, I think, of the filmmaker, be it a man or a woman, who's making the film, there's also a responsibility of the person who's choosing themselves to be cast in those parts. Somehow we never stop to think about why are those people doing it in the first place. So it's their responsibility as well. For me, I can again speak about the films that I make and the content that I put out, and that's something that all of us, be as producers, as writers, me as a director, or when I'm working with others, we're very, very cautious about. Well, I'm in complete agreement with what's just been said. I think it'll have to be a multi-pronged approach where anything and everything that can be done to make a difference as quickly as possible will have to be tried and will have to be done. So depending on environment, depending on circumstances, I think absolutely at times there will be an intervention required, and at times just encouragement so that a certain goal can be achieved along the way. So it'll have to depend on what it is you're facing.